Candidates running for the Yelm City Council in the November general election got a chance to voice their opinions at a debate this week. The debate was held Tuesday as part of the Yelm Area Chamber of Commerce's monthly luncheon and forum. Position 4 candidate Jennifer Littlefield was unable to attend. Her daughter, Whitney Littlefield, answered questions on her behalf. The debate also included Littlefield's opponent, Tad Stillwell, as well as Position 6 candidates Terry Kaminsky and Joe DePinto, Position 2 candidates Joe Baker and Molly Carmody, and Position 1 candidate J.W. Foster, who is running unopposed.
So we're going to just go from left to right, and everyone tell us about yourself, who you are, and why you're running. Try to take about 3 minutes. So we'll start with Terry. Whatever you're comfortable with.
Hello, fellow chamber people. My name is Terry Kaminsky, and I'm running for position 6, City of Yelm. What I thought was 5 years ago actually was 10 years ago. I answered an ad in the paper where the community was looking for volunteers for the planning commission. So, being a good community person, I put my name in the ring and was lucky enough to get on the job. So for a decade now, I have been on this planning commission, and for those of you that don't know, the commission is basically a panel about this size that we serve an advisory position to the city. So any issues, things that have gone through the city have usually passed through us first. Recently, we worked on the comprehensive plan, rewriting it with Tammy's help, the city planner. We've worked on the farmer's market verbiage and done a lot of things. You can imagine over 10 years how much work we've done there. So this is the foundation and my interest for running for city council. I own property in the city. When I go to work every day, it takes me 3 minutes to get to my office. I work at Windermere. And when I'm not in my office, I'm literally out in the field somewhere on land in Yelm, running around doing my business. So I feel really connected to the community. And through real estate, I have people talk to me all the time about what's going on. And I find they're either frustrated, angry, happy, and largely misinformed about a lot of things that go on in the city. So it gives me a lot of personal satisfaction that I can talk to people and actually really know what is going on and try to help them when I can. I've always wanted to run for city council, but didn't always live in the city. But now that my daughter has just graduated Yelm High School, I feel the time is right for me. I feel I can make a great contribution. I feel connected. I feel happy living here. I feel I have the maturity and the wisdom and the heart to be on the team. Thank
Whitney.
All right, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about my mom. She is married to my dad right there at Dwight Littlefield, and we as a family moved here in 2005 so he could open his accounting business here. As Mike already said, she is a teacher at Rochester Middle School. She teaches 6th grade language arts, and she's teaching leadership this year, which she's really excited about. She also served as the president of the Milltown Elementary School Booster Club while my brother and sister were going there. She was also the president of the Midday Lions for a while. She served as the chair of the Yelm Planning Commission. I think her and Terry worked together for a little bit. And as Terry told you about how much work they do and how great that organization is. And as you may know, she was appointed to the city council last October, and she's been currently serving there. A little bit beyond the politics, she is a border collie mom as well. Her and our border collie Hardy are aspiring agility pros, so they're working on the poles and the triangles and all that stuff. She considers Young CrossFit to be her second home. She also leads the children's singing group at church, which she enjoys. And she is also a crazy BYU football fan, if you know her at all. I think sometimes she probably frightens the employees in Buffalo Wild Wings with how intense she has it. And that's about it.
Well, it's my turn, so I would like to mention the fact that my mother-in-law lived in Yelm since 1922 and got to graduate from Yelm High School in 1940. So that was a pretty interesting little thing in my life. And I've lived in Yelm since 1946, served on the Yelm City Council. Into this term will be 12 years. Also, I'm retired out of Weyerhaeuser Company My wife is retired, she's right there, and she's retired out of the state. I have a daughter, Jolene, working for the state. My daughter Janelle is working for the Yelm School District. And now at this time, we're going in our 5th generation into the Yelm School program. And from there, that's just about the size of my life, of what I've done in Yelm. Another thing, at the time I'm representing the inner city transit in the city of Yelm and part of the Olympia area. I'm a member and a board member of Adult Center in Yelm. I was a member of the SWAC, Solid Waste Advisory Committee. Adopt a highway down here between Yelm and Rainier. I coached Little League for 13 years. I was on the Parks Board way back when Cochran Park first started. And I've worked with the Christmas in the Park. And I'm a past Moose Lodge president, state president. And I volunteered for several other programs in the city of Yelm that are not happen to be mentioned at this time. But anyway, I thank you, and I really appreciate all these new candidates. We've never had this before, and I think it's great, even if I get beat, Molly.
All right, I'm J.W. Foster. I'm presently serving the end of my first term on the City Council, and I was on the Planning Commission for 10 years prior to that. I like to serve my community. It was my family's way of doing things. My mom and dad were big church members. My dad was president of the Rotary, ran the small town newspaper back in East Greenwich, Rhode Island. Anybody? You get that a lot. And so it's just been always part of my nature to serve. I did 5 years in the United States Marine Corps, and then I just retired 2 years ago from Tumwater Fire. I was a paramedic firefighter for 34 years. Presently enjoying living in Yelm for the past 20 years. My wife Nikki and I raised 4 children here, and we're very proud of all 4 of them. And I think as a dad and a city councilman, I'm very proud to say that we got them through 4-year colleges. 2 of them took 5 years. Well, one because Colton majored in bassoon performance, and bassoon is a very long instrument. So he said that's why it took him long. Okay, buddy. But we got them through 4-year colleges with 0 debt, no loans. We paid for that as we went. And so I certainly understand fiscal responsibility and how to make budgets work. So of that, we're very proud. In addition to this, I still do some part-time work for Thurston County Medic 1. I do a lot of teaching, and I'm president of the board of directors for the Nisqually Land Trust. So that's about me. I'm running for position 1 because no one else would run against me. I've really enjoyed being on the city council and working with the council that we have and the mayor and the city staff. I think we've come a long way as a city, and I'm looking forward to the future.
Hi, my name is Molly Carmody, and I'm running for position 2 on the City Council. I am a 6-year Navy veteran. I was deployed overseas to Iraq for a year in 2003. I recently moved to Yelm in 2009, I think. We bought a house in 2010, so I've been here for, a couple of years. I feel like I've got the idea of the place. I am the office manager of the Crow Law Office with my husband, Dan. I'm currently serving with Terry over there on the Yelm Planning Commission, and I'm on the board of directors of the Yelm Business Association. The reason that I'm running for City Council is basically threefold. I would really like to see Yelm become more of a walkable, livable community. I think that we really have an opportunity for some sort of infill. I'd like to see people be able to live, work, and play all in the same area, as opposed to driving to Lacey or driving to Olympia or driving to Tenino or wherever. I also would like to see Yelm become more business friendly. It's kind of got a sort of negative reputation right now, and I think that we could really improve on that maybe by adding sort of maybe a part-time ombudsman position between the city and business people. I'd like to also see some of the fees either decreased or sort of offset as you go along through time. Rather than having new businesses pay huge fees all at once, it'd be nice if they could pay them in installments. That would really help a lot of new small businesses come to Yelm, which is what we want. We don't want, the huge big box stores. We want small, independently owned businesses, and I would really like to support that. The third thing that I'd like to see Yelm become is sort of a hub on the Bountiful Byways tour. I think that we really we have a great opportunity to do that here. We have the hotel here, obviously. We've got some really nice wineries. We've got some great mom and pop businesses all around the area, and I think that Yelm could make a great hub for the Bountiful Byways tour, and really nobody's taking advantage of it yet. So that being said, luck. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tad Stillwell. I've lived in Yelm about 20 years on the Farmers Insurance Agency over by the library. I'm glad we're limited to 3 minutes. I read a study the other day that said if I go over 3 minutes, you'll be forced to vote for my opponent. So, I raised 3 kids here in Yelm. One was on the 6-year, 4-year plan. She's now a teacher in Puyallup. They all live here. My other son's going to the University of Washington. Starting back after a short career with Amazon, decided he wanted to get an education. So, and the other one's living a snowboard bum life, which might as well do it now. I am in the Army Reserves currently, and I think what makes me suited for city council is that I've deployed all over the world, and we deal with local governments, local populace, and I think Yelm's really at a crossroads. We've got a lot of growth. I'm not going to lie, make a lot of money when the city grows, but we need to really control it. And I think that we need to have specific plans. Molly and I have talked, Joe and I have talked. We need to really focus and keep the small business owners here and be a friendly place to do business. I'm not saying it's not friendly, but we could try to do a little more and make it more accommodating to businesses. So I look forward to your vote. Thank you.
I'm Jody Pennell. First, I'd like to thank the Chamber for putting this on and allowing everyone to kind of get to see what we're all about here. So thank you for the Chamber. Thank you to Michael Wagner also for putting this on and moderating everybody. And a special thank you to our Secretary of State. Very cool that we get to have her here. So Secretary of State Kim Lyman, thank you for showing up. Like I said, I'm Jody Pennell. I grew up here in Yelm. I moved here when I was about 5 years old with my parents. They moved out here for the good schools, affordable homes, and the beautiful scenery. I grew up on Lake Lawrence. Beautiful scenery with Mount Rainier in the background, lived on the lake, great childhood here. Went to all the schools here in Yelm. Prairie Elementary, Yelm Mill Pond, Yelm Middle School, Yelm High School, went to Eastern Washington University where I majored in government, minors in history and communication. I worked for Kathy McMorris Rogers over in our district office over in Spokane. Learned from her customer service, how to take care of constituents, what are important ideas for them. I went to work over at the state legislature where I currently still work as an executive legislative assistant. I help out with, I work as a legislative liaison pretty much between the constituents and the member. I work for Representative Paul Harris, who actually his district's in Michael's Reflector, serves that area. So that's kind of unique little fact for you. Other than that, my priorities include increasing public safety. Right now we have times when there's only one officer on duty, and that's not safe for the community, it's not safe for the officers. So I think we need to increase their budget, make sure that we always have at least 2 officers on duty at all times. My other priorities include lowering the water rates, or at least maintaining them so they're not as high as some of the other ones in neighboring towns. I think we pay a high rate for water, and it should be maintained at a certain level. Other than that, I'm endorsed by current I'm endorsed by current seat holder Ken Garman for City Council position 6. State Rep Graham Hunt also endorses me. I appreciate the vote for 59% in the primary. Really appreciate that. Met with a lot of people doorbelling, and I think that really helped. And love to have your vote in the general. Thank you.
It's really nice to meet you all. And we're going to start over with Terry again. And 1 minute on this question. What makes you the best person for this seat?
I feel like I am the best person for my seat because I'm a homeowner in the city. I'm a small business owner in the city. I feel very well connected with the many, many people that I already serve. And I just don't think there is any comparison that the foundation of the Planning Commission has given me. And I'm not sure, but I'd say 95% of the City Council comes from that group. And it's just a grassroots way of learning exactly how the city works, getting to know all the people, getting to know all the issues, and actually having a hands-on way to actually do the job. And that's why I feel I'm very well suited to the position.
Okay, so I don't really know if a minute is enough to describe to you all how amazing of a lady my mom is. So first off, on more of a technical basis, she sort of has this unique position because she spent 3 years on the Planning Commission. She spent almost a year in City Council so far, so she's gained that experience, know the ropes, but she still is a new member on the council. She still has fresh ideas that she's bringing to the council, and she can continue to bring. But above that, she's the kind of lady who she'll spend far into the night poring over documents and studies to completely understand an issue so she can vote the right way on it. She is the kind of lady who will show up early and leave after everyone else. She is the kind of lady who knows how to do nothing else but put 110% into everything she does. And I think she's exactly the kind of leader that the city of Yelm deserves. She has become a leader in almost every single organization she's ever been a part of. And it's not because she's bossy or because she's aggressive, but it's because she is, people recognize within her intellect and her enthusiasm and just her genuine want to do good. And I think it's also important to let you all know she has been endorsed so far by our Mayor Ron Harding. She has been endorsed by County Commissioner Bud Blake. She's been endorsed by Thurston County Sheriff John Snaza. And she has a couple others on the way, but I don't want to spoil those yet. So yeah, I really truly believe that she is the best candidate for the job. She's the kind of person that city government really needs. That's all. Thank you.
I don't think I would be the best. I am the best. So anyway, I would like to say that being on the council for the 12 years and the things that we have accomplished throughout those years and the things that's upcoming, that we are still making decisions and going over to get them finished, such as bypass and some of these other things. I would like to be there to help finish up some of those things and be in the part of coming up with new ideas that most of them here would like to do too. Because the city of Yelm has been a special thing to myself and my family and my grandparents and everybody else. So anyway, I just figured that staying on there another term would not be the worst thing in the world. I would love to stick around and do the things we've been doing. I think it's great. Yelm is a great place. Thank you.
Okay, since I'm unopposed, I won't have to say why I'm the best candidate for this position, but I do want to say thank you to the existing council, planning commission members who have helped make my job a lot easier, and thank you to the staff on the mayor of Yelm who have helped make this place the wonderful place it is, and why we all want to live here and have businesses here. We have done a very good thing. Not a council person, not a mayor, a council of 7 with a strong mayor and excellent staff have created the Yelm that we have today, and we're all very proud of that. So I just hope that everybody who gets elected to the position continues that mindset and works cooperatively to help make things better. Thank you.
So, my opponent has been here for 12 years, and he is a great person. He's done a lot for the community. He's done some great things with intra-city or intercity transit, things like that. But I think that Yelm needs a fresh perspective on things. I think we need to move forward into the future to really accommodate the new growth that's coming in, some of the new measures put down by the state of Washington. I think that we really need to consider what's going on in the future, not just what's happened in the past. Thank you.
Again, I'm Tad Stillwell. The reason I think I'm the best, again, is just my world experience with being in the military. I hate to keep relying on that. And business. I have a fairly decent business mind, depending on who you talk to, I guess. My wife may not think so. But I think that's critical. It's a business, it's growing, and for those of you that may or may not know, Ms. Littlefield and I, we were in the final 2. She was appointed, and the reason why I chose her seat, just briefly, is because my deployment schedule with the Army is typically every 3 to 5 years, and there's only 2 years left on her term, so I didn't want to run for something knowing I couldn't finish it. So just so you know. And the other piece, if you see my signs, it says a tad bit of sense. It's in no way derogatory. I just want you to remember my name. It's Tad, that's it. You call me Ted, Tom, I don't care, but Tad is it, so you can just remember both. Thanks.
So this reason I'm the best candidate for this position, not so much that I grew up here in Yelm and I understand the city, I grew up in the city, I've seen it evolve and change and grow, but one obvious reason is my connections to the legislature. I understand how the legislature works. When we put in requests from the city of Yelm, I understand how it works. I understand the lobbyists that we're meeting with, who they're meeting with, the capital budget requests that they're putting in. You know, I met with DeWard Jurassic, one of our city's lobbyists, and he was telling me that he's never presented his case to the actual council. He's never been in front of the whole council and said, this is what we need to, this is what you're paying me, $30,000 split up between 2 lobbyists. That's what you're paying me for. This is the results. This is what we want. This is what we got. Never happened in all the years. For that money to be spent like that, we need to help hold it accountable. You're going to have I think this election in my position, between Terry and myself, you see 2 stark differences. Someone who's been part of the city, part of the planning commission, like she says, for all those years, you're going to get more of the same. I want to bring in innovation, different look, a fresh perspective on things. And not to mention, I probably got about 15, 20 years on the next closest person in age to me on the council. No offense, but I think it's important. I think it's important to have that different age perspective. As a millennial, it's just a different way of thinking. No offense. But thank you.
Again, we'll start with Terry, and again, it's a 1-minute answer, please. Yelm has been the fastest growing community in Thurston County. What would you do to address this if in office?
Well, the first thing I wanted to say is, I wish that I would have brought my daughter to speak for me, because she's doing a great job. Same things I would never say about myself. I just want to acknowledge that Yelm is the fastest growing community in Thurston County, mostly because of the work that the city has done. The infrastructure that we have, the grants that we've received, all the things the city has put in place has allowed this to grow versus places like Tenino and Rainier that don't have the infrastructure that we do. So I want to acknowledge that it's already in process. And we all love living here, we're all coming here. The biggest thing that's just occurred is the $54 million grant that we got for the roads, and I think transportation is something that everybody talks about. I was stuck in traffic myself this weekend, and when that the work goes through, then that will be very, very important for growth. And then also just to accommodate all the other groups that come, I'd like to see more of the arts supported, all the other things that the community is bringing in from the diverse people that live here, finding a place to support them and just sustain the growth that we have. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So then, Joey, I bet you were a little threatened to see me on the panel. Okay. So first of all, I think that growth is amazing. Living up here, we moved here 10 years ago, and the growth even since then, it's been amazing. You know, we didn't have a Starbucks when we first moved here. We didn't have a Walmart. There were so many less people. I think it's amazing. But I think we need to make sure that the city facilitates that growth. Well, and my mom thinks so too. I'm speaking for her. Just remember that. And we need to make sure that, as Terry said, that infrastructure is already in process. We need to make sure we're keeping up with that, with our water and our sewer, and as she said, our roads. We just got the money for the bypass, and we've also completed 9 major road projects in the last 10 years. So that is a process that's going on. And another more important thing we make sure to do is grow smart. We need to use our zoning codes, we need to use our design standards to make sure that it's organized and it's attractive and it looks the way that we want the town to look. We also need to make sure that we're being attentive and responsive to any changing in demographics we may have, and how we need to, the city isn't static, and so the government shouldn't be either. We need to make sure that we're changing to the different people that come into our town and different needs and wants that they may have. Thank you.
Well, you know, there has to be a reason that Yelm is the fastest growing city in the whole state of Washington. So if we're the fastest growing and we're doing the best, it's pretty hard to improve on what we're doing. And by this, what I look at is the things that we have accomplished in the last several months. She's almost said it, that it was 58,000 million. 58 million was put in to finish the bypass. We bought a new library. We finished the Longmire Park. We did the Mosman corridor, the Yelm Avenue sidewalks. Skateboard park is in its stage of getting going. The community center is going to be finished up here in a month or so. And so as far as that goes, I can't see where that we're lacking anything. I work in Olympia with Tumwater, Lacey, and Olympia, and the elected people over there. And to those people, the mayors and all, they come out and ask me, what are you guys doing out there to make that city go so well? And I try to explain to them, we have a good council, we have a good mayor, we have a darn good staff. So that's the way it works. Thank you.
Well said. First, I want to make sure, hey Joey, could you speak up a little bit when you have, because us old guys can't hear you very well. Our brains full of wisdom. So, to echo what some other folks have already said, Yelm has grown because other people want to live here. We all came from someplace else, well, except Joe.
What Joe?
We all came from someplace else. When my wife and I moved to Thurston County in 1988 and drove around the whole county, this is where we wanted to live. We couldn't move here right away because of my job over in Tumwater, but eventually we were able to purchase here in '95, and it was a great decision. It's a great community to grow up in for our kids. The school district, Andy, has been fantastic. Got 4 smart kids out of it. And the problem with the growth is it's not just Yelm. Yelm is not, the city of Yelm is not what's growing. It's growing, sure, but it's the area around Yelm that's growing. And I like to say all roads lead through Yelm. They're all going someplace, and you've all seen that at school getting out and getting in time and the daytime and on the weekends even, because people are driving through Yelm. And our goal is to do that smart growth and give people a reason to stop in Yelm and spend some more of their money. Those who don't want to can use the new bypass when it's done, which was possible only because of the work of the council and the planning commission over the last 20 years to get that thing done. So they can go around us if they want. The rest of them can take a nice drive down Yelm Avenue with our pretty flower baskets and our trees and our pretty buildings. Well, not all of our pretty buildings.
We're getting there.
Well, I know, we're working on it. And growth is managed in a way that we can enjoy living here for the next 50 years or so. There we go. Thank you.
I think the most important thing that Yelm needs to address to make sure that we are the fastest growing city in Thurston County is affordable housing. I don't know about you guys, but we recently had somebody try to find a single bedroom apartment for herself, and it was $900 was the cheapest apartment to find. That's really expensive, guys, for a town this small. I think that we really need to make sure that not only our single mothers, our elderly, our deployed soldiers, or our single soldiers, there are a lot of them. They need affordable housing. I think that's the most important thing that we need to address, in addition to public safety. I think we really need to increase the number of police on staff. I think that's a really important position to fill and create. I know that our detectives don't even have enough time to go out and do the interviews that they need to do to help solve crimes. There's not enough people. So public safety and affordable housing.
Yelm is fast growing, and I don't want to put Chief Stance on the spot. I won't do it, but it seems like I've lived here for 20 years, and I believe Todd was like 12 when I moved here. He's a new officer. Seven, sorry about that. Anyhow, we have the same staffing, 20 years, maybe one or two officers that have been put on since that, and it's dangerous. We're lucky. This morning I'm a little rattled because I spent all this morning with 1,200 of my closest adolescent friends at the high school, trying to hand out schedules, and my old ears don't work, my old man glasses were broken. Anyhow, we're just really lucky here that we haven't had a really tragic event like we've seen around the U.S. We're super blessed. We have a great police force, we have a great fire department, but we need to really be sure that those things are in place by either a sales tax initiative. So as we grow, it's not a burden to the city. You know, we can do that. It can be managed better. We're definitely short to have one officer on staff. If you need them over on Crystal Springs Road and they're on a domestic violence out here by Walmart, you're going to wait. You're going to wait 45 minutes. And I don't know about you, but if my wife's home and I'm deployed, I don't want to wait. That's critical. Anyhow, that's what I got. Thank you.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I didn't mean the age thing as any offense to people of different ages who are older than me. I respect the combined 500 or 600 years of my life. That's about right. That's about right. I'll ask. But I really do think it is institutional knowledge, though, that people like me that we don't have. I haven't been part of the council for years and years. It's part of Yelm for years and years, like some of these members have. And I do appreciate that, and we do need that. But we also need some younger blood with different ideas on the council as well. So I think I bring that perspective. I couldn't agree more with Tad, though, when he said about public force or public safety being a priority. Like I said earlier, we need to increase the budget. We need to prioritize police here in Yelm so we can make it a safe community. Going back to the question about the fastest growing county or city in Thurston County, it is. And I don't think that's a problem. I think it's a good thing. We need to be able to manage it, build the infrastructure. My opponent said we do have the infrastructure, we're already there. I disagree. We have people we have business. I've spoken to many businesses in Yelm. Many of them complained to me, $50,000 to move into Yelm. $50,000 on top of their stuff, set costs. $50,000 hook up to sewer, to water. Unacceptable. Not just one business, multiple businesses in Yelm explained that to me. The infrastructure is not there because they're paying for it. Businesses are paying for it, and that's not right. We need to distribute that equally, make sure that we aren't putting the burden of the high taxes, the high rates on these businesses, make sure the infrastructure is there before they move in. They go to Lacey, they go to Tumwater, Olympia. You think they have to put $50,000 to move into there? No. So that's one of my priorities as well. Make sure that businesses are well taken care of and they're a priority. Thank you.
25.
Okay, well, we have 2 questions, but we'll do one more question, and we'll start again with Terry. And do you think the Yelm City government is supportive of local business? If not, what would you do to improve relations?
I was ready for the other one, the park bond. Can I do the park bond instead?
No.
Does anybody care? Supportive of local business. Yes, I think the city is supportive of local business. And what are we right here? We're the Chamber of Commerce, the link between business and the city. This is just one body that we already have. There are a lot of things in place. There's a lot of people complaining about hookups and all the rest of it, and I agree, it isn't inexpensive sometimes due to the older infrastructure. But who pays for the infrastructure? Should it be the taxpayers? Where does that all come from? So that is something that should be put on the plate that we will work through. But I don't think that we are unfriendly to business. If I would just say yes or no, I would say we're very friendly. If we can make it work, we will. And if things have to be changed, there's a process to go ahead and change it. Thank you.
Okay, so I have friends that go to colleges all over the country, all over the state, and when they come back to Yelm for any sort of summer break, Christmas break, that kind of thing, they're always like, "Wow, that's new. That wasn't there before. Oh, did they move their building over there? Oh, that looks so much better." So our businesses, I think we are business friendly because if we weren't, those kinds of things wouldn't be happening. And I think it's important that we stay business friendly. I think it's important that we stay business friendly to all businesses. We cannot just cut out businesses because we do not like them. We do not like their size. As a city government, I'm not part of this, I can't say we, they do not have the right to go and say, "You are not worthy of Yelm, we do not want you here." As a government, you cannot do that. And I think it's important to remember that the city serves 8,500 people. And so the city government needs to take all of those into account. It needs to be objective in that. And even businesses have different competing interests. That's the nature of the free market. So we need to remember that, as well as taking care of our business members. The city actually just sent out a survey. I'm sure some of you got it. I think it's important that we continue to do things like that because that's how we stay in touch with citizens. And actually, some of the results we have from those, businesses asked, "What's the greatest barrier?" They were asked, "What is the greatest barrier to increasing their business?" Number 1 was the economy. Number 2 was capital, and number 3 was space. None of them were the government. And another question: What changed the city codes? What one changed the city codes to improve your business would you suggest? Number 1 was nothing. Number 2 was the sign code. And number 14, that was 14% was other. So I think overall we are business friendly. I'm not saying we're perfect. I think it's important that we can constantly be improving. That's always important. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay. On that particular question of do you think the Yelm government is treating the businesses right? I know for a fact that the city partnered with the chamber and they put together where we have a B&O tax for business that make under $5,000 per quarter, reduced property tax by 1% for 4 years in a row. No other city has done this in the state of Washington. We have partnered with the EDC, it's the Environmental Development Council. City sent a survey that she was talking about out, and on that survey, 56% were more than happy with all the codes of the city. So that I can see is great for our city, and I think we're doing a good job on that. Thank you.
Excellent. Wow, 1 minute. So the support that the city of Yelm has shown local businesses is evident in the number of businesses that we have being represented here today. We have a great diversity of businesses in town. We have strong business leadership, Margaret, Jason, others here in town, who have made their job making Yelm do better. And the government's job is to support those people. We have 7,000 people or so that are actually paying for those taxes, and we're supporting tens of thousands of people who come through here. So everybody has to pay their share. We only make 62% of our budget off of taxes, and the rest has to come from other places. So the fees, yeah, they're big, and I like the idea of paying them in sections if we can do something like that. But we have to pay for the infrastructure to have the water and the sewer, and of course the roads and the police officers to patrol them. So growth is painful sometimes when the businesses have to come in and pay their big share of it. But we need that diversity of businesses. Small and pop businesses can't run the city. We need light industry, we need bigger commercial, we need a diversity of businesses to come in. And Yelm's job, and I think we've been doing a good job of it, is to provide that infrastructure and support. So, that's where we are.
So, I would say no, it's not. The City of Yelm is not business friendly, and this is why. It's not only the transportation offset fees, it's not only the sewer connection fees. It's because when a small business comes to Yelm and says, hi, I'd like to do business here, the city doesn't say welcome. Here's what you need to move forward. Here are the licenses that you'll need to apply for. Here are the permits that you'll need to get. Here's how to do your master business plan, your operating agreement for your LLC, anything like that. The business just says, come on in, you know, but it doesn't help, it doesn't act as an incubator. And I think that's what we need to do to encourage small businesses, not huge businesses like the multinationals coming in and taking our money and sending it back overseas, or taking our money and sending it to New York City. Because every time that you buy at Walmart, that money goes away forever from Yelm. It goes to the Walton family. Or if you pay, you know, if you go to get your meal at Burger King, that money goes away from Yelm forever. So we need to keep our money here. If I go to Mr. Doug's and eat lunch, then the owners of Mr. Doug's and the waiters and the wait staff and the cooks and everybody at Mr. Doug's, they're gonna come to my business and maybe get an estate plan or whatever. The money needs to stay local. And in order to do that, I think that we need an ombudsman, maybe even just a part-time, 1 or 2 day a week position from the city, or even a volunteer, just to say, hey, we're here for you, we're here to help. We can send you to the Thurston Economic Development Council, who has all of the work tools that you will need to become a successful business. But I don't think that right now that infrastructure is in place, and I think we really need to work on it. Otherwise, we're gonna face a city of strip malls.
We're talking about B&O tax. Just to give you an example, I work on commission, so let's say I gross $200,000 a year in commissions. I pay city B&O tax without the ability to write anything off. I don't take that money home. I spend 70% on staffing an employee. That is not very friendly. I'm sure Renell can attest that that's a little rough. If I'm Safeway, I can charge a penny a can of soup, and I just pay my city B&O tax. That's not really friendly. And I'll go back, Steve Klein and I were at a meeting, that's been quite some time ago, and the nice ladies that started Ice Chicks is a prime example. The lady is in tears wanting to keep her business here in Yelm. We lost 40 jobs. They weren't great paying jobs, but they buy insurance, they go to the lawyer, whatever. They spend money here, so we allowed them to go to Tumwater, because Tumwater has an easy way, they turnkey, and they're growing so fast that they need a bigger space. So I don't think that we are friendly to businesses. That's the type of business we need here. They're local, their whole family's involved, they have employees. Again, they're not making a lot of money, but those people are all unemployed now because they're not going to drive to Tumwater. They can't afford it. Well, maybe not, $2.59 a gallon, whatever. So I think we have a long ways to go. We punched a well up there in the Highlands where the neighborhood was, and we have, the city owns the well on the golf course. Why didn't we improve that, right? We wasted $6 million as opposed to whatever, $1 million. I don't know what it is, but we could have invested that in these incubator type areas and kept that local business local.
I think Yelm's neutral in supporting business is not. I think we try to support businesses. We do try to make the effort, but we're not really there yet. We have this industrial park. Many of you probably don't even realize that we have one. It used to be where the old Lasco used to be. A Lasco company did fiberglass bathtubs. Employed many people out there, good paying jobs. It was a manufacturing job. I like to bring that back into Yelm. I like to make that vibrant again, that park, and reach out to Boeing, reach out to Microsoft, say, hey, what is it going to take for Yelm to get one of you guys to come out here and build one of your small manufacturing plants out there? Is it going to take the infrastructure? Is it going to take tax preferences? What's it going to take to get you here in Yelm? And we're not doing that. We need to be doing that. Easy solutions to bring businesses into Yelm. We can look at the different B&O rates. Tad's absolutely right when he talks about the B&O rates. I'm sure most of you guys know that it's tax off the gross, not the net receipts. That hurts you when you have high expenses for different employees, for labor costs or whatever. I'd definitely be interested in looking at the different rates we could do for that. But more than anything, we need to go out to these businesses and reach out to them and say, hey, what can we do to help? How many of you guys have had the council members reach out to you as owners or workers, employees of your business, and say, hey, what's Yelm doing to make it tough or make it easier for you? We need to reach out and really help them, help you guys succeed. Because government's not in it to choose winners or losers. We shouldn't be doing that. We need to just make the infrastructure up to date. We need to make sure that the red tape isn't there so you can get out and do what you do best, your business. So we're not going to make you successful. You're going to make yourself successful.